Hello, my name is Azehara, and this is going to be the second part of the AI PNG VTuber tutorial. Now, for the sake of making things a bit easier for me, I'm going to use an example I already pre-rendered, or an image I already pre-made, and I'm going to upload that into Novel over here. I'm going to hit image to image. For the sake of highlighting some of the features of the website, there's a tool that will let you clear up or delete the background of any image, but it might not be perfect, so you might have to go later on Photoshop. I'm going to try this with this new image I used, and if it doesn't show up nicely or if it doesn't work, I'm going to then do a little edit of me deleting the background in Photoshop. It would be best if you didn't have to do this, but you still might have to do it depending on how it comes out. Now, for the sake of me showing everything, I'm going to generate this image. 1 second. So, and there she is. So up here, there is a tool that says send to director tools. When you send it to director tools, there's a button right down here where it says remove background. If everything works out, and if you have an image that usually has a very clearly defined outline and a fairly simple or solid background, it should get rid of the background for it without much issue. But again, let's see what happens. It might not be perfect. And so there we go. As you can see, for the sake of this image, I created a little outline over it when I generated it. There is a prompt I use that's called I believe it's wide outline or outline, and it will do this with your image. If you don't want this, then you might not want to use that outline prompt. As you can see, there's some white in here. So again, you probably might want something completely transparent, but you might have to do that yourself. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to show you that this is somewhat possible to do. And you can basically get rid of the entire background of the image and save that and work on that. But to get to the important part, you're gonna go to the inpaint, which is right here. And as you can see, it's an image that has a fairly neutral mouth. There's not really any expression, she's just smiling. And on the inpaint image, you're gonna color in her mouth. This is basically a mask. And what you include in the prompt is what's going to be rendered inside what you masked off. So if you want to maybe change the eye colors, then you can highlight the eye color. And on the prompt, you can do blue eyes or red eyes or something like that. And it should change only the eye colors. But for the sake of the tutorial, this is not important right now. I highlighted the face. I'm going to add open mouth and talking. And I'm going to hit generate. And I should get an image with her open mouth. I'm going to open Photoshop, as this is probably the only or the easier way you can do this. Let's say you take the image that I had gotten from the program. This is the transparent image. As you can see, I'm going to open a layer over here, and I'm going to add a pink background so you can see what is there and what isn't there. As you can see, there is some little problems here with what the AI created, but that's fine. So this is the image I first saved with the transparent background. And this is going to be, I'm going to add the second image I generated over it. Perfect. Let's see. Okay, she's not moving. As you can see, her general pose and her general the general image does not really move anything. The only thing that changed was the mouth. So when I toggle on and off the layer, you can see that she's basically moving her mouth. Of course, this image has a solid background when I generate it, because when you generate the images on the AI, it will generate them with a solid background. It will be nice if they add something later on that you can generate the image by itself without it adding the background, but that's asking too much for now. But I'm pretty sure they might add that in the future. So I'm going to get the layer that's in front. I'm going to select her mouth, her open mouth, and I'm going to layer via copy. And with that, I can delete this front layer. And I have, as you can see, the mouth by itself. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to hide the background layer I painted, and I'm going to save this image as file save as, and I'm going to maybe add, I don't know, tutorial closed mouth. You cannot see this because I'm doing this off camera. Saving this as tutorial closed mouth, and then I'm going to toggle that layer I cut with the open mouth, and I'm going to do the same, save as, and I'm going to add the name tutorial open mouth. And why am I doing this? Well, because later when you open OBS, you're gonna have the option to upload both images, the one with the open mouth and the one with the closed mouth, and you want to know which one is which because you don't want to get confused later on. So for the sake of keeping things simple, you might want to do that. And then if you follow the tutorial that I'm going to link in the video, you will see how you can set up these two images with the open and closed mouth so that she can simulate basically speaking. That way when the mic picks up your voice, it shows as if the character itself was speaking, and when you are not talking and there's no sound coming from the mic, then your character will close her mouth. And that is a very simple and easy way of using AI to create a character and having her included in your OBS so that you can start your PNG VTubing. Now, later I might do part 3, as apparently there is a new, or there's a program out there that's called something like PNG VTubing. I'm not quite sure about it. I have to look into it a bit. But apparently you can upload several images which you can also generate several emotions and everything, that you can have your PNG be a bit more dynamic instead of just having a simple open mouth and closed mouth animation. I am assuming that you can upload also the different vowels, so you can maybe add different mouth types when your character is speaking, and it will simulate the different sounds or the different shapes your mouth will have in the character. But again, I haven't looked that really too much into it, so I'm not too sure about how it works. That might be my next tutorial of sorts. And finally, let me reopen back the AI. And for the sake of just showing how things might work here, say you want to generate the maybe yelling, maybe, or screaming, shouting, anything like that, and maybe generate, and it should probably have a more rounded out mouth. It's that's more like an E sound, but you can generate multiple of them and maybe make different PNGs, transparent PNGs, the same way I showed. This is like an A sound. And if the program does what I think it does, then this should be the way to maybe get different mouth shapes into the original image that you can then upload into that program. So it's basically the same thing. You just move this to Photoshop, cut the mouth by itself, and paste it on top of the already existing transparent PNG. And with that, you should have a fairly dynamic PNG VTubing avatar with the use of AI. Of course, this character I created by using AI. If you want the prompt for it, let me import metadata, and it's right here. Because I've been playing a bit of Uma Musume, and of course, well, this is just a generic horse girl I made with the program. You can do this also if you want. Or you can do the other characters, Fox Girl or Tiger Girl or whatever, which I showed in the first video. Though those were a bit more complicated, their silhouette, and you might have to manually edit or crop out the background. So that should be all, and thank you.